Good day, my super fantastic science boffins. Just to let you know, I miss you all. Your faces, your energy, and the amazing science lessons we used to have. Hope you are ready for today's lesson. Let's have some fun. Grade 6s will be moving on to a new topic and we'll be talking about water pollution. Now, before we carry on, let's look at the instructions. Number 1, remember you need your date and your heading. Most importantly, I need you to please make sure that you have these notes in some sort of form, whether you write them out or you put them in a mind map, or you can please use the printed version if you have the academic pack that you paste in your book. You are also more than welcome to print this out on your own and paste it in your book. Otherwise, you can always just write down all the information. So let's start off with some important terminology. Now, when we talk of precious, it's of great value and not to be wasted. Now, when we talk about precious, we are talking about our water. Our water is precious and we should not be wasting it. A threat is a person or thing likely to cause damage or danger. Essential, absolutely necessary, or extremely important. Suffocate, it means to die from the lack of air or inability to breathe. Filter, a sieve that can separate solid substances from a liquid and so making the liquid cleaner. Now, when we brainstorm, this is a group discussion to think of as many ideas as you can in order to solve a problem. A slogan is short and catchy saying, visual, a picture or a drawing, and then harm or harmful, it causes damage or it can hurt. So when we look at water pollution, we need to understand that there are many forms of water pollution in the world around us. Now, South Africa is a dry country, and water pollution is when water is made dirty. Now, water can be made dirty by many different substances. Polluted water cannot be used as it is unhealthy and can cause many different diseases. South Africa's water is extremely precious resource, but at this point it is under threat because a lot of South Africa's water is unfortunately polluted. Now, water in an ecosystem is essential because living things need to live in it. But water also provides a place to live and for us to use and drink. Now, there are many water habitats like the ocean, rivers, ponds, wetlands, and lakes. And remember, these are essential because it helps living things survive in them. Water pollution affects the drinking of water. Now, I would like you to look at the slide and have a look at some of these photos. Do you really think you would want to be drinking that water? Now, people can catch many different diseases and they can die from drinking polluted water. Things like cholera and diarrhea are common diseases caused by polluted water. Now, keeping our water clean is important for our health, and everyone can get involved in dealing with water pollution. I want you to take a moment to stop and think, how do you think we can stop water pollution? Now, I hope you had a moment to think of how we can stop water pollution. I'd like you to write 1 or 2 things in your book just to say how you think you could do it. Now, moving on to insoluble substances that pollute our water. Now, insoluble substances means that they cannot dissolve in water. These substances make the water look dirty and smell really bad. Examples of these are plastic bags, tires, broken bottles, oils, and tin cans. Now, people pollute water by dumping insoluble waste into rivers, dams, or even the ocean. Now, plastic waste kills many animals every year. Now, grade 6s, I want you to think of the fact that plastic kills many animals every year. And I want you to think of this. Imagine many animals die every year. Remember, it causes animals to go extinct and then they become endangered. Now, let's take a look at more insoluble substances that pollute our water. We can think of oil spills from ships that pollute the sea and harm sea life. Now, oil, unfortunately, does not wash off the bird's feathers due to it being an insoluble substance. This then stops the birds from flying as the oil residue affects the feathers of the birds. They then starve and die as they are unable to fly. Now, fish, seals, penguins, and whales get tangled in fishing lines. This causes injuries to their bodies and eventually they can suffocate and die. And remember, fishing line is an insoluble substance. Insoluble substances are visible and you can see them. That they are waste and they are harmful to the animals in the ocean. Now we're going to take a look at soluble substances that pollute water. These type of substances are substances that dissolve in water. Washing powder and dishwashing liquid are soluble substances. When these substances go into our natural water, they pollute the water. But remember, they dissolve in it, so the chemicals become part of the water. Now, farmers use chemical fertilizers, and these fertilizers make crops grow. Farmers then spray the chemicals on the crops to kill pests. These chemicals are called insecticides. And fertilizers and chemicals dissolve in rainwater and get washed into rivers and the ocean. Soluble substances that pollute water. These soluble substances pollute water and kill many animals that live in the water habitats. I want you to take a moment to look at the 4 pictures on this video. Isn't it scary? All those chemicals, and then they all go into our rivers, oceans, dams, and seas. Remember, the world's water is one big cycle. You've learnt about the water cycle. Now, factories and mines produce waste materials that pollute our water. These waste materials contain acid and other poisonous substances. Living organisms are harmed by these poisonous substances. The next substance that pollutes our water is germs. Germs that pollute our water are things like living organisms that we cannot see. We can only see them under a microscope. In many places in South Africa, there are no proper toilets or washing facilities. So where do you think these people go to the bathroom or wash their clothing? Human waste gets dumped or washed into nearby rivers. Human waste has living germs that can cause diseases like diarrhea and cholera. Just look at those pictures on the slide. Oh, and you thinking, a fresh glass of water? That doesn't look fresh to me. Grade 6s, I hope that you enjoyed learning more about water pollution. I would please like to ask you to make sure you have these notes available to you when you study. Have them in your book, printed out or written out. Thank you. If you have any questions on this topic, please don't hesitate to contact me.